think of this stuff so toxic that a Dixie cup will kill everybody in a restaurant for an hour, every hour, for 1 billion years.
This is probably the most dangerous stuff on the planet ever.
There's 8 million liters a day pouring into that ocean. 8 million liters a day. 17,000 containers of radioactive waste. It's just part of the catalogue of waste dumped at the sea by the Soviets that we know about. 47,500 barrels containing plutonium, cesium, strontium, the most toxic stuff on the planet. That's 2.5 million gallons or 18 million Dixie cups.
I know this sounds incredible to people, but there are 40 miles of unlined trenches at Hanford. We stretch them end to end, into which our federal government, your government, was dumping radioactive waste from nuclear weapons production and its own reactors, even though it seeps right out of those trenches, and that stuff is all moving through the soil.
The Italian mafia has been using the sea as a convenient location to dump over 40 ships that were loaded with toxic radioactive waste into the Mediterranean waters since 1994.
Dumped out of the high-level nuclear waste tanks in the 1950s and 1960s, billions of gallons of liquids.
Over 600 barrels of toxic nuclear waste had washed up on the Somalian coastline.
So, this brings us to the question, what are we made of? So, yeah. And where do these 5 elements come from? The planet. But generally, when you ask somebody, normally almost everybody has this image in mind. Somebody sitting in heaven with these 5 boxes, churning out all the human beings. It's not so. You're made right here of the same elements what we just saw. You want to be healthy. Okay, you're composed of living microbes of this air, this water, and this soil. And 90% of this body that you believe to be your own body is actually composed of 90% of it is microbial cells. That's not you. The human cells are just 10%. You're carrying 90% of those microbes in your guts and here and there. You take this to be you, but 90% is somebody else. Cells-wise and genes-wise, 99%. So you're about 10% human, 90% somebody else. 1% human, 99% somebody else. And the question remains, where are they coming from?
if existing life in the environment is abundant and rich, healthy and robust, the body is formed out of it, stand a chance to be healthy and robust. If the land you're formed from is sick, if the air is sick, water is sick, the whole environment is sick, how can healthy bodies be formed from these?
Lié aux éléments. Tu te balances sans mouvement. Tu te balances dans l'esprit.
When the raw material is cheap, how do you expect the product to turn out good? If the food you consume is cheap and poisonous, if the 5 elements you're made of are sick and degraded, if your very cells are aggregates from your urban scums in toxic dumps, what makes you think your spouse can detox you? If your whole habitat is damaged, disfigured, and ruined, if the whole ecosystem is collapsed, out of balance, and wrecked, what makes you think you can be balanced and healthy? If your very way of living is a disease on earth, what makes you think your doctors and your yoga gurus, very much not only a part of the very same way of life, but on top of it, profiteering from it, can import health from somewhere else and gift it to you? For how long do you think your chia seeds or tulsi or turmeric, your diets and fads can support human life on earth? In spite of all the evidence, contrary to even the common sense, what makes you think you can continue living the same way and still be healthy? What makes you think you can continue walking the same path and still make it?